So yeah, no, I'm going to start again. I'll come back to that story a little bit later, the pizza story. I just want to like say this before I go down the rabbit hole I'm going to go down. Like I said, been a very, very weird, I'd say past 3 days, starting with them taking down Brian's eight YouTube channels. For me and Brian, and I know he won't mind me saying this, we're where we're meant to be. And as much as that sounds, you know, there people think that we are like two gazelles out on the Serengeti. Yeah, like we're bits of prey. No. And what I will say is, where religion's concerned, everybody knows. For me, I don't get it. But I do believe in higher power. I believe that there's good and there's evil. When you've lived the life that I've lived, I've had to stay in the grey areas. But I'm doing this now. But I'm not talking about no grey areas with trafficking and all that bullshit. No, 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 no. I'm talking about, like, ripping people off. So it wasn't. And I think people are under the impression that I stopped clipping years ago. I stopped clipping the day I met John Wedger. And that is the truth. I wasn't up there morning, noon, and night, but I was still going, well, it's all I knew. So it's been a very, some just, my life's just done a mad 360 turnaround. But I know why. I know now this is where I need to be. And when if well no when we wake people up, because I believe they're starting to, there's a few people starting to see the light, because the evidence is so overwhelming. It's ridiculous. And I, I really need to start putting this picture together. And I know that, like I said, waking people up to Pizzagate is the best chance. Yeah, because, like I said, you just got to watch the documentaries recommended by me and Brian. They're all up on my Facebook page, on my other face. And for people on YouTube, my Facebook is Nikki Cooper, and it's 3781 is my personalised account. Every video that we've recommended is up there, and more. But obviously, Brian's 8 channels, and no strikes, no warnings, no nothing. And the very next day, there's a tweet from Paddock. Reveling. And who else pops up? the, I obviously am not going to mention her name, but she, piped up. So they think that they actually think that they've silenced us or scared us. I will tell you all this now. Me and Brian are probably less scared than what you know. I know this has taken the fear away. Like, no, we're not scared, but we're not stupid. Yeah. And yeah, there are obviously things that we're going to be pretty hard for them to deal with. We're both antisocial. We both. He doesn't drink. He definitely ain't a nitty. He definitely does not sniff cocaine. Um, and we don't party or we don't. But to be quite honest with you, I think Brian is um, Brian is a big problem for them at this moment in time. And I have people contacting me. What can we do? What can we do? Well, I'll give you a good start, and this cannot involve me and Brian because there's no way I'm going out of London. There's no. I'm not going to get killed on my streets, man. No. It ain't going to go like that. But I didn't know that there are YouTube offices that are in London. There was a demonstration on Saturday, and I see old Jeanette Archer there with the old megaphone, giving it the SRA, leads the SRA. Jeanette, I've still got the clips of you telling complete and utter lies. You couldn't make up your mind whether you one or two clips you said you hadn't seen no demons manifest. In the second one, it was yes, I saw them and they wasn't human. And that was taken off 3 different live streams, love. And we also still have the clip of you saying when I first went public with Wilfred Wong, because let's face it, you'd known a week that he'd been arrested for abducting a child. Mm. And I just want people to know this as well, That's when me and John done. Because there's no way I'm buying that bullshit. And that's exactly what it is. But sitting there with a megaphone, SRA, SRA, drunk in her success, writ a book, starting a charity called Safe Haven. It was Safe House, but now it's Safe Haven. And like she's obviously had to take the place of John because his little comeback didn't work too well. Yeah, right. But there, do you know what? I hate doing this because I don't even know where to start. It's just like, Fred and Rose. Oh dear. I actually saw that, and it's on mainstream, and it's definitely real. You see the forensics tents and that. What the fuck? They found bodies underneath a calf. No, it's no, right. And this is where this shit's gonna, yeah, right. I have recently, and I mean in the past 2 days, actually found out about the human flesh. I have to call it an industry because I don't know what else to call it. I take you back a few years ago. Everyone was going mad because there was horse meat. Yeah. When a human meat is cooked, a rib's a rib, a kidney's a kidney. It looks the same. You cannot tell the difference between human meat and animal meat. It looks the same. And I thought, it was more of a elitist thing. I thought it was something that they do, munch dead babies. I know that, but I wasn't prepared for the Britain are the second, biggest importers and exporters of the said meat. And it's not just about, obviously, the core is Satanism, because these people munch on people, now, it's not just about that no more, it's about the money. And they have been pushing human meat through our schools, through our prison, not religious. It's just about how much money they save, because a cow's life is more important. It is worth what they're not really, animals are not being, that's why our farmers are failing so bad, because the human meat, and I ain't even gonna lie, I am not munching McDonald's again, right? That is a no. But they've been doing it hospitals, and like I said, this you can't tell the difference. When it's minced up, it's minced up. And I thought it was confined to a few little calves. Yeah. Now, if people think that is so incomprehensible, like I said, this ain't a bunch of Satanists. It's a bunch of the most sick, evil, twisted mind that you can get. But, and also, so it don't matter what colour the person is. Obviously, the younger meat's more sought after. Do you know what? I don't even want to think about that. But I put up a post earlier on Facebook, and it was just a load of dead bodies, organs cut out, and now I've seen that before. I saw it last week actually, and it was what they found in containers that were shipping refrigerated items. And you know what? I'm going to hazard a guess here, people. You remember the big ship that got stuck in is it the Panama Canal? A container ship. And from I saw that, I knew that there had to be something weren't right. And you know what I think, people? I think that was the contents of the said containers. And it's, and people were horrified. And Facebook's put me on I can't comment or post on my other one for 7 days. I only had one really restricted thing lifted earlier on because of that post. And yes, it was gruesome. But hold on a minute. It's no different to Marina Abramovich sitting in a pile of severed limbs of it. But that's art. They don't want you seeing that. Now, where did them severed limbs come from? Yeah. But the arts and that, I'm going to have to kind of leave that for now, because I had a little deep dive on Ian Watkins, the Lost Prophets, from the Lost Prophets. The baby and toddler raping Ian Watkins. And I think, like, from day when I heard about Tom Watkins, the first thing I said to Brian, are you sure they don't know each other? And I think for Brian, in Brian's head, Brian's thinking, no way. Because, yeah, he knows Tom Watkins a nonce. baby and toddler age taking shit and the thought, I think for Brian to even comprehend that Tom Watkins could be something to do with Ian Watkins, not could be, all right. It was, it just goes against every everything that but let me tell you what's very interesting about Ian Watkins. No, no, not indeed. His parents, both of them, are Davis, Davies. And I noticed that Ian Watkins' name has been Ian Watkins from day. And it's like, well, what's going on there then? And the further I went in, the worse it got. And Brian was on a live yeah, they've all rolled into one of the days. Brian was on a live, and you saw me phone up. So that's how fresh this shit is. And you would have heard me mention a woman called Joanne Magellix, because I'd heard Brian talk that name before. And when I've looked into Ian Watkins, Miss Joanna Magellix was Ian Watkins' girlfriend, who apparently tried to report him to the police for. He used to tell her what he was doing. They, what, how this man. It's beyond, because it don't. I mean, you'd think it could never get no worse than baby and toddler rape. It gets worse. What they do, it's beyond comprehension. But I'm thinking, hang on, wows, right? Watkins. But what they don't want you to do is to look at Watkins's, family life. And the official story goes, he was a good boy, never got into trouble. And when he started getting into a band, he didn't drink, smoke, take drugs. He was completely anti everything. But then he fell in with the wrong crowd. No, he got a degree in saying, and then he fell in with the wrong crowd. You don't fall in with that ain't the wrong crowd. You don't wake up one day and say, yeah, let me go and let me go fucking kill babies. You don't wake up one day. That shit comes from generational. Yeah. That stuff does not, you don't develop that. And but guess who he was when he was over in America quite a lot. And he's friends with a band called Sex Stains. Now, Pizzagate, like when you know Pizzagate, you know Sex Stains. And Sex Stains are a group that regularly played at the family-friendly Comet Ping Pong. Oh, they were a lovely group. Lovely, lovely, lovely. And they teamed up with Majestic Ape from Heavy Breathing. Absolutely. Well, and apparently, and I can't confirm this, but it kind of would make sense. He played at Comet Ping Pong with them at a gig. So, you have a baby and toddler raping musician who, in New York, is friends with Sex Stains who perform at Comet Ping Pong. And a lot of people are under the illusion. They think that, Pizzagate was about Hillary Clinton running a sex trafficking ring. I ain't saying it's a sex trafficking ring. It's a killing machine. And these people, they even try to hide under the vegan, and you know why? Because they don't eat animals. They eat people. So they can, plausible don't know, truth in the lie and all that. And yeah, no, I don't suppose they do eat animals, you know. But what is really obvious to me is everyone kicked off about the horse meat. I'm going to prove to you that the human flesh trade is, I mean, the more dead bodies, the more money you earn. Happy days, mate. Happy days. And I, I look further into Tom Watkins and his little bow house in Hastings. He had a basement built. And there's a picture of him with Damien Hirst. Who else did we see Damien Hirst with? Who else is Damien Hirst tight with? They run art classes together. Let me think. Camilla Batman Jelly. It's company. Mixed up with John Wedger, doing food drops he was doing for her for 3 years. And who is the common denominator between me and Brian? It is John Wedger. And he was the person involved in setting Brian up. He was the one, he was involved, put it that way. Meant to be an active police officer at the time. And now a good guy. He ain't good at all. There is nothing good about that motherfucker, let me tell you that now. Yeah, and I didn't realise how deep he goes. Because what they're covering up for is, they know. Oh, 100% they know. But this setting up of Brian, this isn't about the Red Rooms anymore. Well, it is. It ties in with the Ian Watkins arrest. Now, what if I'm right? And Ian Watkins, because I would put, like, I'm saying I'm 99% sure. Because that genetic trait of abusing and killing kids, like I said, you don't wake up one morning and fall in with the wrong crowd and just start killing and torturing and raping babies. No. And then munching on them afterwards as well. And they cook it all up, make it all pretty, don't get twisted. And I know I'm going a bit off subject here, but I want to say this before I forget it. Ricky Dearman, 100% believe that he's a piece of fucking shit. Yeah. Won awards for his slime business. You want to know about the word pizza? Put it in front of anything like that. Put pizza slime in YouTube. Go and look at the pizza slime blog that's up there blatantly. And when you learn about pizza slime, because that's all you've got to do nowadays, put pizza in front of something. and it just and pizza slime, what do you think pizza slime's made of? all that blood, they melted that, you know, they melt that shit down. They do, like, they, you know, they melt the bones and make sculptures of that. They've been doing that for, you know, that, I know the Hampstead children said that, and they was right. That's what happens. And I'm going to give you another interesting piece of information. November fireworks night isn't about Guy Fawkes. When they had the bonfire, it never used to be called a bonfire, it was called a bone fire. And after all the Celts and, you know, they who openly used to sacrifice, they done it openly. And when it become bit, they had to kind of get it underground. But oh my God, this is at the moment, this is their world. And it's so much of their world. We've got a human flesh meat the people, the second in Europe. This is it. We and the immigration children, and what, you know, any wars that they want to start. Do you think it's not just about divide and conquer, mate? Do you know what wars provide? Dead bodies and children, misplaced children. That Britain are so quick to want to give asylum to all these displaced children. These displaced children are just getting put into the food chain, and I mean the food chain. Every single part. I mean, let's face it. The more dead bodies, the more money they make. Well, what do you think these people will be prepared to do for that? But this isn't in America. In America, I can understand that not everyone's going to get woke up. Please remember, we are a small island, smaller than the state of Texas. You know, we can make a change here. And all it takes is to watch the recommended docs. And I promise they're not harrowing. They're very they, once you see them, it's like a light turns on. And I know Brian will back me on that as well. Once you grasp, but the other shit, that's traumatizing. I can't really, like, because I've had a really, like, I'm not gonna lie, my brain's frazzled. And you will notice that I've been putting up posts earlier on, and they were the posts of, because I bet you no one knew about the porter, because I know I know most of the people on Facebook, but other people that have just joined, you know, come through Brian. I've had loads of, thank you very much for the subscribing and that. It's free, but I would just rather read. I would give up my channel and get it, because Brian's channel is much more important than mine. But we saw it. But I put up, there was a vile Wales paedophile with Timothy Cox. That he was called that. And Timothy Cox was running a baby and toddler, wait for it, to order to be abused. He was creating rooms. And these people have got premises everywhere. You have no idea how many companies they've got and everything. You've seen with Brian with the Levi Belfield. I'll get to that. But the Cox family. Timothy Cox was convicted, got 4 years. I doubt if he even served today. And it's just been reported that he's out of prison and he's bought a house next to a school. But Timothy Cox is also related to Brendan Cox. And Brendan Cox is the husband of the Jo Cox, the MP. Whether she was murdered or not, I don't know. I have no idea. But he then started up the Jo Cox Foundation. And they lived on the canal boat as well. Do you know what I'm thinking? I'm thinking Jo Cox was definitely dodgy because she was. But there's dodgy, and then there is just some sick shit. Now, she wasn't a Cox by thingy. She was only a Cox by marriage. Wonder if she must have stumbled. She might have stumbled on the Cox's little, sideline baby toddler rate to order. Just hazarding a guess out there. I wonder if that's where old Willy Wong Wong, yeah? If that's what that was about. Because for me, there ain't no rescuing going on here. There's a lot of. I couldn't even tell you. I have no idea what's happened. But he lived in Camden. Barge Boat Central. Let's traffic children as easy as possible along the canals. Barge Boat Central. Known for it. But at the time, this porter from Great Ormond Street Hospital, 35 years, was a porter in our children's hospital, and he abused them in the linen cupboard, and he had extreme trouble. He abused them in places in Kent. 35 years he had access and was abusing children. He had extreme child porn. Baby and toddler rape was mentioned. And he pled guilty. No, but I didn't even know he'd been arrested. But guess when I come across that story? Now, bit of a savile turnout, do you not think? 35 years in an hospital. People just love the dead kids. But 35 years, I just want you all to know that. 35 years he had access. And he used to take them to the linen cupboard. Linen cupboard. And I found that buried under. It happened. It got released the day after that Sarah Everard turnout. That wouldn't even have caught my. I weren't even there. I knew there was something dodgy about it anyway. But you can imagine how my ears pricked up when it turned out that the guy, that Wayne Curzons, that no one saw, no one knows, was in an elite part of the police force. he was he was security to high political thing and embassies. He provided security for the embassies. And it's an elite. So I'm like, hang on a minute, what's going? Like, come on, like obviously the arts and embassies, the shipping, the something's dodgy. But this story, they tried to sneak it in, and that's my little missy with her tiptoeing about. Oh God, I've lost my train of thought now, miss. You really made me lose my train of thought. I was on the Sarah Everard. But there was another story that come in front of it. And guess what that was? Daniela Westbrook's going to go and get a job in Aldi because Brian Harvey's messed up her chances of getting it. Miss, come on, stop, stop! Come on, come on. No! My dog's just being a jar now. Right, it's where she, wait, Miss, stop! Right, I didn't beat me dog then, by the way. I was accused of doing. But, yeah. And she was basically a telecommunications, 33. And, oh no, I was talking about, shit, Nikki. I was talking about Daniela Westbrook when I had one on. And she's got, by the way, my dog's got cancer. That's her coughing. She's not very well, but when she taps about, it's really annoying. And it's not that I don't know, she just tiptoes. That's what she does. She tiptoes. But yeah, all right. Now she's putting it on. But yeah. But the Sun did a story about a porter having access to our children, to our babies, because you know that's that Great Ormond Street's known throughout the world, and you've got some dirty Paul Farrell. His name was Paul Farrell, but he lived with his mum. But he abused the children in different locations as well. There was a caravan in Kent. Where else was there? Caravan in Kent, and his mum's address, and Great Ormond Street linen fucking cupboard. Now, that should have been the headlines, and that's what they were trying to cover because it wasn't a trial. He pled guilty. He actually pled guilty, and it's never been spoke of again. And when I spoke of it, outcry. So I'm thinking, hang on, 35 years, access to mortuary, access to the, hang on, he lived in Camden too. Wow. But they did say that he never abused any patients at the hospital. And like I said, can't be fake because he's actually pled guilty. It wasn't a message, it wasn't a but he was walking around with extreme child porn on his phone. Where'd that extreme child porn come from? Where did it go? But then, Timothy got Ian Watkins, right? But what's interesting in the Timothy Cox case is who was investigating it and who was involved in it. Jim Gamble and CEOPS and Wow's NSPCC had the audacity to comment. And say that it wasn't enough that the police would do that, right? I can't get off subject, so I'm going to have to leave the NSPCC right now. But I noticed that it was all happening 2012, round about that time. And isn't it, that's an interesting time. But 2013 was when Brian was led into what actually is the most disgusting, right? But I believe they had something planned because if it was ever to come out that Ian Watkins, and it's never been, never been looked into, never been, what damage would that have done? these... No, miss! Oh, sorry, because she's driving me up the wall. And now he's going to start. But, oh, for God's sake. No! Oh, I know, this is not good, is it, really? It's probably the worst one that I've done. But my head is really frazzled. But I'm just trying to get this down so I can get it out. But there is a logic. There's definitely a logic. And I need people say they're hiding it in plain sight. The PZA stories, go and read it for yourself. It's the first thing that Google comes up in Google. This is a legitimate, but it's been up there for a while. You can donate, And what is mad, actually written on it says, stories that could be true, but are not true. And the Pizzagate community looked at some of the people that were submitting the stories, because this is pushing that child molesters hurt children, paedophiles love children. They're trying to distinguish between that. So it's okay to write about extreme, and he says extreme torture. No shame, no shame, no shame. And it then says, you must never abuse a child in real life. They are supported by Stop Child Abuse, Blue Ribbon campaign on the bottom. And everyone's saying that you shouldn't have posted that could be a hidden site. Hidden what? They don't hide it. What part of the Tom Carroll that Brian played, the man from Pie, Tom O'Carroll, an interview in 2015, not 1970s, 2015, 60 Minutes Australia. He wasn't even trying to justify what he was saying. He was talking like he had a right. And they were talking 10-year-olds, but there was a 4-year-old mentioned. Because these people that were from Pie, where do you think they disappeared to? Paedophile information exchange. And I suggest Pie and Mash films, Bill Maloney, he represented the Pie, and the victims represented the Mash. As blatant as that. How is Tom O'Carroll, 2015, total member of Pie, openly, and then you had Keith Harding, who was the membership directors, who ended up being made worshipful master of the Mercurius Lodge, which they called the Spies Lodge. And he was done for noncing a 5-year-old. It's Pie didn't just go away. They just morphed it, and these people are so open about what they are doing. It's ridiculous. I'll bring you back to the Jesuit oath that they still take and have to say today. I read it out. And you wonder why I can't grasp religion. The Jesuit oath basically says peel, strangle, kill, smash babies' head against the wall to purge their disgusting race of this earth. They believe that shit. Right? Now, if I'm right, it's an arm of the Catholic Church. So, and then you got another religion that condones sucking babies' dicks. It's not paedophilia. No, 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 no. And 2 babies caught herpes. But it's just, and then, you know, you've got, it's, I'm not seeing, for me, it's just all about hurting, killing, raping children. Put a black cloak on, hey, happy days, all day long. Crack on, playground. Oh, also on that them Ivoti, so it says Boy Island, and there's also a thing called Halloween, and I wouldn't even want to know what they write stories about that with it. But like I said, it's probably a registered charity as well. Don't get that twisted. Do not get that twisted. And when it comes to the cannibalism, they was telling you with the Beatles record cover where they're broken down. What, you know, and that's another religion, isn't it? Satanism. That's all about fucking eating. Like it. But I will say from my own observations, because I've looked at all this shit for a long time, there is no other religious deity who they mock more. It's Jesus Christ. For me, it's not about the religion. It's about good and it's about evil. And that is what this is coming down to. Brian's been putting up, we found some photographs of Esther Ranson, big in the NSPCC and Childline. Hey ho. Didn't know Jimmy Savile was at it though. She's sitting there with Killary in hang on, 1999 it was. Now, why would Esther Ranson and Killary be hooking up? What do they have in common? What could they have in common? Endless supply of children. What was Sadiq Khan shaking hands with John Podesta in December 2020? What the fuck is going on? What seriously? And you've got Camilla Batman Jelly in the fucking middle of the whole scenario with her smug Tavistock disgusting. Oh, she's vile, but it's cool. Kids company, run it with Alan Yentop. Oh, hang on a minute. Wait, Alan Yentop. Oh, he was at Marina Abramovich's house. Oh, God, my battery's low. He was at Marina in her house, you know, in her yard. Actually went to the woman's yard. Are you fucking kidding me? Yeah, and there's another nice little one with Naomi. Oh, Naomi Campbell. Snuggled up with John of God. Who's John of God? He was a Brazilian. Baby farmer. Spiritualist. It's, yeah. But Marina Abramovich and the arts. Visionary artist, the BBC pushed her as. Even people that don't even look at Pizzagate know that bitch ain't no visionary artist. But all the, I would say probably one of the most evil women on the planet right about now. She don't hide her shit. The cadaver cakes. Why would anyone want to eat a bit of symbolise munching on a dead cake? Yeah? What kind of sick shit's that? But do you know who is one of her photographers? Miss Rachel Chandler Guinness. And Rachel Chandler, I've said this time and time and time again, yeah, from day one, from the off. Ghislaine Maxwell is in no fucking way his main procurer. Rachel Chandler Guinness is so, she's down with all this. The cannibalism. She runs Midland Modelling Agency. She was working for Wayfair when that was going on. On her Instagram is so. On one of them, there's some holding a dead baby in a FedEx box. It's no fucking joke. Do you know what? I've got to let these dogs out because they're not thinking. 1 minute. Sorry about that. You know what? I got myself. Have you ever? These are Freddos, yeah, Freddo ice cream. Oh my god, they are so banging. You have no idea. So I got myself one of them. Hang on. Do you know what? I don't even know. I've got a few things written down here, so I'll think it. Ah, yeah. Talking about these baby and toddler rate porters. Now, Jimmy Savile, all the while all this going on, still about, still active. Do you think Savile never bucked up on Epstein? Do you think he never bucked up with Paul Farrell, the baby and toddler radio? You know, from Great Ormond Street. But no one's ever linked them together. And Timothy Cox, what's the chances of that then? And also, I'm going to give you well, it's not a fun fact because you know this is this is really true. And Brian, when I first told Brian, he had to Google it. He's like, no. There was a very well-renowned psychiatrist. He was the top psychologist, by the way, at Broadmoor. And do you know what his accomplishment, what he's most known for? Bringing Shakespeare to Broadmoor. Know what his name was? Maury Cox. I guarantee you, underneath Broadmoor, they built themselves a playground. They run art classes as well. But he's most renowned, you can Google it, for bringing Shakespeare to the prisoners at Broadmoor. But they missed out. Oh, miss. They missed out. Miss, come here. come here. Miss, come here. She's such a cow. She's so stubborn. She's 14. She's a stubborn cow. But he said he felt because these prisoners would have missed out on Shakespeare in their childhood. Broadmoor is where Jimmy Savile had all the keys and a sleazy little office where he had no business. Same as Wilfred Wong had an office in the Houses of Commons. He had no business having an office in the House of Commons. And I know this ain't politically correct, but he's just Chinky Savile, mate. That's the bottom line. Procuring children for the elite. Lived in Camden. I would never have bucked up on Paul Farrell, who got away with it for 35 years. And not even a headline in the Sun. Fucking Daniela Westbrook and her poxy Aldi job, which is bullshit, come before that story. So they're diverting from that story. But the story that they've put to divert from, where's that gone? You know, they was bringing in new laws to curfew men and shit over that Sarah Everard thing. Oh, used to have Richard Branson as crime. All fact, checkable. And her father was a professor at the York University. Like New York Rights or something. Yeah, there is, isn't there? And her mum worked in charity. Like this Wayne Couzens, when there more human remains found underneath his car auto parts service. What happened there then? And his Ukrainian scientist's wife. Oh, went away, didn't it? It's like they thought the story of Paul Farrell, the porter. Sorry, these are so banging, you have no idea. So, Jim Gamble, who was investigating this whole paedophile ring, massive in Wales, and it's all in the record. Kind of must have not clocked all the child porn that's going around here, there, and everywhere. And like I said, people, we are a tiny little island, yeah, and we are so asleep. We are so asleep that even me, I had no idea how deep this goes. I'll get into the real, because it's. I can't. I was fully prepared to talk about. I thought, oh yeah, I'll be fine. No, not at this moment. I'm just putting out just trying to put shit together, which is what I'm really good at doing. And something good really did happen, right? Because I'm not going to lie, my tech it's a handicap. You have people do not realise how tech is. It's like I'm tech dyslexic, but I'm working with on my life. I've got this broke down computer sitting on a fucking shoebox to bring it up, yeah. And my tech is a very big handicap because I know I sit here and I put shit together. So I see things And do you know what? Mental illness. Yes, I'm registered. I've got bipolar. I'm medicated. And what? Do I look mad? Do I sound mad? I might sound a bit thingy because how are you telling people that there is mass human meat consumption taking place as we speak? Chopping up bodies is just like that, abattoirs. And like I said, they claim they're vegan because they do not eat animals. They're not lying there. They're not lying there. And they did the cannibal calf. Oh, and the human liver that people can't comprehend happens. People, there's a designer, like there is a human leather designer range out there, and there is a quote, and this quote is from Mark Twain, and it's so true. It's easier to fool people than it is to convince people they've been fooled. But this isn't me trying to prove that you've been fooled. They're not even fooling you no more. It's in your face. It is in your that these people believe that they have a divine right to fuck children. This is my Ronnie. They have a belief that they have a divine right to fuck children. And not only fuck children, abuse them in the most, and then cut them up. Just and the reason why you're not getting children so much snatched off the street anymore is because they've got in military bases and everyone knows about their underground military bases. I think dumbs. First time someone said that, I thought they was insulting me. Deep underground military bases, and they are floor to ceiling stacked with cages. They're lab rats. They use the children as lab rats. Not just children, it's humanity. Now, when you've got a load of psychopaths absolutely obsessed with depopulation, and the more dead bodies they have, the more they earn, or the more live bodies they take the organs out, and that's what that post I put up. These people had all their organs cut out first, mate. They were raw dead bodies in the rawest form, untold of them. And I don't know that I'm taking a guess that it was something because I know that they was bodies out of a container that had been, and I mean it was the most disgusting sight. I ain't even on Telegram. I'm under this girl Ella. What is it? What was it? It's shut. It's some group, and when I say there's quite a lot of good stuff on there. But I don't know. I'm not too sure how to use it. But the full clip is on there. And like I said, people, it's no different to Marina Abramovich sitting in the middle of a pile of severed limbs. But no one questions where the limbs come from. Oh well, they just say they come from. I don't know. But the Cannibal Calf or Club, they advertise that they only use young, healthy. Like, I think they're trying to say they're what's the thing? Oh, for fuck, mate! With the free range. Yeah, it's no, that's not even funny, really, is it? But fuck me, you just got to laugh, and but if the person's young and healthy, what the fuck are you mincing them up? Because I'm telling you now, you see beef mince, you cannot tell the difference. So people that are obsessed, because they are like a death cult, they're obsessed with death, make money. The more people they kill, the more children they kill. What what do you think they're going to do with that? The right thing? No, 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 no. And like I said, this is on an industrial scale, mass, mass scale. But I guarantee you, there would have been more outcry about the horse meat. And if they can stick horse meat in your fucking burgers, what do you think they can't stick human meat in? Which works out so much cheaper for them. And they literally, me stop. They literally advertise that. And the human liver, they advertise that they only use prime cuts from willing donors. And it's a bit of a thing at the moment, this human liver. I don't know if you all saw this Richard Branson post, old RB. Didn't Daniela fly to America with Richard Branson? Yeah, she did, didn't she? Where'd you go, Daniela? Because you need to start fucking talking, love. You're there trying to say that you're not a lolly because you've got to work. But there is a few facts about Daniela, and I believe that Daniela was born into this, multi-generational. Her mum was a Playboy bunny. And Daniela freely admits that, she was meeting the Rolling Stones, her mum brought her around all these, and let's face it, come on, what was it? Who was the one who married the bird, Mandy Smith, when she was 14? But he's cool. That's okay. He's a rock star. It's all right. Rock stars are allowed to marry that. Elvis Presley. Priscilla Presley was 13. But that's all right, because he's a rock star. And because that was all right, and you let it slide, and people let it slide, and they let it slide, and they let it slide, it's led to where we are now. And like I said, it's they don't hide anything. They advertise it. And they advertise it so blatantly. But on a real, the two biggest charities in this country, Kids Company and SPCC, are child trafficking on a mass scale. They're taking immigrants' children, but every now and then they'll show, oh yeah, these immigrants got put up in a 5-star hotel. That's all it takes for people to start hating. So then they don't give a shit. Who gives a shit if it shouldn't be here anyway? Now, I know that there are good people out there who are just not seeing the bigger picture. And because it's immigrants' children, no one gives a shit because you all don't like immigrants. You can't hate the player. You gotta hate the game. Because what's the point on hating on immigrants? I ain't gonna lie. If I was told that I think they're told this land's like milk and honey. Yeah, come over, come over. And when they come over, their children are taken. No one cares. Shouldn't be you. And when you start condoning their children, their babies, their children. They didn't ask to be put there, and it's really bad. Their absolute disregard for humanity, for everything that we hold dear. They are absolutely, I mean, on a scale of this country's a cesspit. The docks, it's and we've got the likes of John Podesta wrapped up with Sadiq Khan. We've got the likes of Ian Watkins hooked up, sex stains from Comic Ping Pong. But it's okay. And we've facilitated this for so long, it's people have detached. And the more you detach and you don't want to know, and it's like, oh no, I can't hear about it. These people now have a they feel like they have a right. They don't even feel like it's wrong. How how has that happened? It is just so crazy. You got dead kids everywhere, and do you know what? As well, and I'm putting. I know it's going to say you see Maddie. She ain't alive. Do you know what? Well, I know what I think happened. I think Brian thinks the same as well. They munched her when they went to Clement Freud's house. What did he cook for dinner that night? Because they are so common, and these people do this shit. If someone's sacrificed, eating them is meant to be an honour. I kid you not. And if I remember rightly, the dogs detected cadaver in the hired car that they hired 3 weeks later to go and visit Clement Freud. And for me, that's it. That's the answer. That's it's kind of it kind of hits you because she was obviously sacrificed. Same as Millie Dowler. Um, and they just it just does it's just become a way of life. That all this that there's things built up around dead children. Even with the Jamie Bolger case, I don't believe them two boys killed him. I believe they procured him. I believe they walked him off. But I believe that there's probably film out there of Jamie Bolger, and it won't be when Venables and that Thompson guy who because these people do this shit. They think it's fun. They actually, and they're getting away. They're getting away with it. They're cover-ups, and I mean covering up for the most degenerate people that even worse than your worst nightmare. What the fuck are they doing with Esther Ranson? Childline, Hillary Clinton. Oh yeah, she's got roots in Wales. There's the Hillary Clinton, Rodham Clinton School of Law, which is 100%. And and the pedesters in London, and they're even me and Brian are just coming with, like, it's the truth, and it's nothing but the truth. You think I want to be telling you, sitting here talking about human baby? Do you really think that I really want to do this? This is so bad. Worse than what I could ever imagine, worse than what Brian could have ever imagined. But we're okay, because there are some good forces, and both of us know that. I'm not saying that I choose not. I know that there's the synchronicity of certain things is just off the scale, off the scale. But where Brian's concerned, the phone hacking is what obviously like blew this all up because of the Millie Dowler link. I believe she was part of the same child prostitution ring that Ghislaine Mack said that they've been running. When it comes to these child prostitution rings, they like a little bit of, when they're in their panache cubby in their secret rooms, they like it to all seem nice and normal. And the Nexium cult was, people just think it was just a sex cult. No, 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 no. They were educational. They're in the schools. Oh, and they used to run projects for gifted children. And they used to brand their slave. It's sick. But Richard Branson's very, very tight with Nexium because he used to hold their seminars on his island. Not only did he hold their seminars on his island, he's very close with Podesta, Clinton, and his fucking grubby fingerprints were over every piece of this disgusting industry. Where did he fly you to, Daniela? Did you go to Nexium? Because Nexium was just a training ground. And when they say they train little girls in the art of pleasing men, I know you all think in your head it's got to be it's got to be learning, sex moves. Do you know what the biggest thing that they learn? How to look like they're enjoying themselves. That's what and they're also taught fellatio. Well, they call it fellatio, blowjob. Yeah, but it's not just about that. It's about looking like you're loving it, because that makes them feel better about themselves. It really does. But you also get taught manipulation, how to procure, how to groom properly. And I remember Daniela saying that Richard Branson and the BBC saved her life. Never really heard that one before. Have you, people? Richard Branson and the BBC saved my life. Okay. Did you go to Necker Island and learn how to procure properly? Because she's definitely got switched from perpetrator from victim to perpetrator to procurer. What was she doing in America? What religion was she practicing, Daniela? With a pentagram around your neck. What religion was that you was practicing? Because he's got a feeling it's Scientology. And to publicly sit there because I saw the game. You want to sit there like you're there. You love Brian, and I've no doubt that you did. Absolutely, because he's probably about the only decent person you've ever met in your life. But it went beyond that. It went so beyond that. And there's no way she wasn't involved in this elite. Max Clifford was her agent. She went Sylvia. She admits that her mum, Playboy Bunny, and did you all know that Hugh Hefner had a little sideline going on magazine called Sugar and Spice, and Brooke Shields at 10 years old was put on the front cover, full nude. And Daniela did say that someone wanted a girl for a modelling job, and her mum put her in for it. She was fed drugs from the age of she was, like I said, she's born into this shit. But you have choices. And to sit there and say, I'm not a lolly, who are you not lollying on? Your abusers. You know a lot more than what you're telling. And the more you speak, Daniela, the worse you make it. Because you open that mouth and you are just one big old heap of liability. So because the bottom line is love, you're so far down the food chain. You're so far down the food chain. You want to mind they don't look at you? You want to mind Paddock don't start looking at you like a leaky leak that he's got a plug? Do you know what as well, people? I'm going to give you a bit of a laugh here. Right. Let me tell you, and it's probably coincidence, but our powers that be, yeah, our powers that be, they've all got sexual names. Ian Puddick, Sean Atwood, Matt Hancock, Dominic Cummins, and the police bird, the chief, Cressida Dick. We got Blojo. That's the powers that be. They sound like a fucking hardcore movie. Porn movie. It's ridiculous. And also as well, the Cummins. Dominic Cummins. Now, why wasn't anybody going mad when he was on the spitting image thing, when he was telling Boris, I'm going to eat your babies? There's nothing funny about that. Nothing at all. And you see Dominic Cummins, because I've realised there's the American and the British link is off the scale. Yeah. The British elites are very, very, very involved in America and shit like that. And Cummings with the same spelling. This is my irony. With the same spelling, I see that before. Now I see it on James Alefantis' Instagram posts. And there's a Scott Cummings. And Scott Cummings comes up a few times. And then you've got the guy called Working on My Night Cheese. And Working on My Night Cheese, he actually makes little coffins. And these little coffins have tubes in that. You can see, he shows pictures of it. He makes it, he doubles them up as a coffee table. So here you go. Even multitask with the casket once you ate the body out of it. But he's got things that will keep it fresh. And it's not like it can't be. It's not like it can't be part. His Instagram posts are all over my page. Yeah, go and look at them yourselves. And there's also another big link, I believe, that is very. Now there's a free to be kids, which kids company morphed into, and the people who run that, Mike G and Rachel Nichol. Old Mike G, he lives in Mayfair, and he runs kids company. But not only does he run kids company, he runs a private social work consultancy. It's a really grey area, yeah. But he's an expert witness for the family courts, expert safeguarding officer. But his family have quite a little charity empire going on here, and his father is called Nigel G, and he runs a charity for the Lodge of Israel. But they relate to Cecil G, the designer. Oh, they love an interior designer. They're sick fuckers, he seems. Sorry, maybe not all of them, but it ain't looking too good. Oh, when I try and get clever, then I forget what I'm saying. About Cecil J. No. But what is worrying is free to be kids as a clothing line, and this clothing is made in Seattle. Pretty sure that's where Bill Gates is from as well, and they are big fans of Bill Gates and Melinda Gates. That's who Brendan Cox hooked up with in Haiti. Bill and Melinda. Bill and Mel. She had she used to wear an upside down cross as well. And it is, but the clothing is handmade. It's exclusive to Free to Be Kids, so it's not a mass produced. Baby baking in process is one of them. This is for a 0 to 3 months old. But one of them I forgot about because I think it just sums images up in my head. And it's for a baby of 0 to 3 months, and it's called Black, White, and Rad all over. I'm pretty sure I know what black, white, and red all over is. Probably the Flora Masonic Lodge where they've just sacrificed all that because there is so much blood. But what these people do, they have all these, they put that stuff down, they wrap it. They know their shit. They know their shit. They know their craft well. Do you know what? There was a few other things I did want to say because I've got it written there. But do you know what? I've been rabbiting on for ages. Um, but I do believe that there are enough connections. Paddock's linked with Tavistock. That Do you know what? You could do a whole fucking podcast on just Tavistock and what a scumbag institute that is. There's a guy called sorry, I can't get his hide now. There's a guy called Dr. Kinsey, and we need to talk about him, and we need to talk about Tavistock because what's worried me more than anything, Brian found a link to this thing called Pathway, and Pathway is incorporated with the Oxley's Trust. They tried to get me in Oxley's. We've got one not far from here, but these people having access to people with mental health, not good. Not good. Because they try to make out that mental illness is an infliction. It's a scourge. It's a shame. You know, people should be ashamed of it. If it weren't for my mental illness, I wouldn't have the talents that I've got for doing what I'm doing. It's my mental illness that allows me to look at things a little bit different. And sometimes that's all it takes. But I'm telling you here and now, it's not a joke. And this is not about this is not about fight. This is about fight for humanity, because these people have none. And there is so much. Oh my God! Before I go, sorry, I've got to tell you about the Pisa story, guy. It was a guy called Celadon D, and it was Celadon 61, putting in a lot of the stories. And they found Celadon 61, someone who doesn't abuse children in real life. It's just it's all right if you write about it and think about it. Cool, no problem. But he says that stories that could be true but are not. And Celadon 61 was proper traced. Memory old's got, it's somewhere. I know Brian will be able to sort of like kind of get that. But you know who Celadon 61? He turned out I think he's a Belgium guy. And he's so close with the Podestas that he's even posted pictures out of the Podesta's house where he's been at their fucking sick parties. And he's in the arts and embassies. Quite a high profile, but one of the main writers for that PZA. Just put it in, PZA Boy Stories. Just Google. It's not hidden. It's the first link that comes up. And to be quite honest with you, if that doesn't show you the arrogance of these people, I don't know what is. Well, I do know what will. Pedagate 1, 2, and 3. Pizza for Your Family Part 1 and Part 2 by Memory Hold. There's another one up there that says Snuffing that you need to watch as well. And Matthew Buddha also done the Elite Human Trafficking 1, 2, and 3. Yeah, Arts and Embassies. But this ain't just about it's this human flesh consumption. Prisons. I guarantee you, we've all probably munched a bit of human meat at one time or another. McDonald's, absolutely one of their biggest investor, whatever you want to call it. They even have refrigerated containers, especially. It's really bad. But what I was going to leave with is, if people really want to help Brian, but it does help me, why is no one outside the YouTube offices in London? Because they are literally freedom of speech. Are you fucking kidding me? There is no freedom of speech. Absolutely not me. I'm on YouTube number 11. And I don't think he's going to stay up long. But Brian built his shit up. It was and I know as much as you try not to, you care. It rocks you, because then you realise you ain't got a voice. Not only Brian's got so much evidence. It's mind blowing. and there's a picture forming, and we're not a court of law. I don't have to. I'm allowed to put, because to be quite honest with you, you know, I like logic. And there is a thread that is emerging that is logical, and it ties everything in. Levi Bellfield's companies, Jubilee, oh my God. Jubilee and Jubilee debt campaign, very interesting bit. They've got their own airlines, they've got their own shipping company, they even do containers, probably do the package deal. And they are massive worldwide. And Lord Alton runs Jubilee campaign, but Wilfred Wong runs it with him. And when you heard Sir Roger Gale's name come up, fuck Sharon Gale, that's Roger Gale's name first came up because on the Houses of Parliament, on their Roger Gale sponsors Wilfred Wong, who gave his life to Christ at 8, and then Christ led him to the fucking Houses of Commons to an office there. Yeah, all right. And that's another thing. How does someone give their fucking life to Christ at 8? Because to me, that just so what you're saying that like that Jesus take slaves at 8? Because that's all that says to me. And if they're old enough to give their life to Christ, they're old enough to give their lives to nonces who want the age of consent lowered to 4. Harriet Harman, who got Camilla Batmangeli's funding reenacted after it was taken away because she's dodgy. 2002, 2002, the allegations first come up for trafficking and abuse. And no one raises an eyebrow. No one, Alan Yentob covered a BBC, covered up for Jimmy Savile all them years, and Rolf Harris, and oh my God, we've even started the children's entertainment cesspit, and I mean a blatant cesspit. It's and you got Rolf Harris, Jimmy Savile. I can't even remember how many other ones it spawned. That it's just ridiculous. But it's the same ring. It's just different faces. Still the child prostitution. They're in the child modelling now. They're in our schools. You got Mike G having the power to have your child taken away, but like legally as he has that authority. But he also runs a private social work consultancy, so he gets money every time he places a child into foster care. Bit of a conflict of interest there. How can you be working on the government sector, having the power to take people's children away, and yet they double in value because you put them in private foster, where child drugs is so big at the moment. But like I said, you know what? I've been chatting. You know what? This was going to be my shortest one because I'm fucking knackered. I kid you not. And I will be following on because I'm going to have to listen to this back to see what I'm saying. Because there's a lot more to follow. But it's just about putting it. And you know what? I'm just putting it out there at the moment so then I can refer back to it. Then I can know what I've said and it makes it easier. But what I was saying about this Apple Mac, I can't start up a GoFundMe. Yeah, because they've I'm not monetizing any way whatsoever at all. But, and I know Brian will back me on this. He said he'd give me, you know, if I can get an Apple Mac, because that's what he knows, he will set it all up for me. If it, because I'm telling you now, I know once I learn, it's on. Once I learn how to be able to show you clips when I'm talking and shit like that, because everything I say is backed up. And if it's not, then I'll tell you it's not. It's a theory. But there ain't no theories coming out of my mouth today. Apart from like what was, you know, but they're logical theories. Completely logical. And yeah, like I said, there is a pattern emerging. But right now, I just think that if people can stand in Trafalgar Square screaming about freedoms and this, that, and the other, get outside YouTube and just show them it's not okay. It really is not, because we're not spreading conspiracy theories. Brian's lived this shit for 8 years, but I can tell you right here and now, on a personal level, we both know where we need to be, and Brian's life's not theirs to take. And one day we're gonna have a, because me and Brian have these conversations where you know things get put together and that, but there are certain times in his life where he has been around. He's like arbor sharks. You know, they circle around. And I'm not talking about like, on the street. I'm talking about the most sadistic paedophiles on this planet. And he's come through this, and he come through it for a reason. And I mean some serious shit. Because there's been a couple of times when they've definitely tried to take him out. The night he got run over. Paddock drug. Well, he was drugged. He was drugged. And even brushed, like, you have no idea how close he comes to the. God, this is just going to sound mad, but it's true. When he was lying under the car, there was a man standing over him. And then I think it's about a week later, this man was arrested for killing and eating his friend, killing and eating, I think it was his friend. And you know what his friend was called? Brian. When Brian's look, it's the guy who was standing over Brian when Brian was underneath that car. And he lived right where it happened. So Brian's lying under a car, half dead, and there's a cannibal standing above him who got arrested a week later for killing and eating his mate. He made mainstream media. So, and there's been other times, and you know what kept him? His mates, because that's all it takes is to have a couple of good people around you. And Brian was never one of them people. He's in E17 touring the world. He never forgot his mates. He's had his mates for years. They're not his friends because they're running around with E17 Brian Harvey. They're friends. And Brian never went nowhere with that. And that's how people are. That's how you roll. All these parties and that, he took his mate with him. So there were times when he could have been he could have so easily had something slipped in his drink. Well, he did. And his life is not theirs to take, and that is so obvious. It's so obvious. Me, I've come into this like 8 years. Eight years is out of this. Me, I've come in at the end, and it's kind of a lot easier for me. Um, because it's I even though I've been around, I've been on road and that for a long time. It was a different world. Brian comes from different, different world. Um, but yeah, I believe he was put up on offer. Oh, they thought they could, and he will tell you that like, they used to send like so much coke round for Dan, literally drop it, and they wanted Brian, and they thought that Brian, they'd break him, they'd get him. Like I said, he's like, no, it's not for them. And there have been some, because Brian's quite strong in his belief in Jesus Christ, and it's a personal belief, but I know it's quite strong in him. And I think he struggled at first because of me not having, because people say, oh no, you don't believe in God. How can you have? I just choose not to. I just choose not to call it God. I call it good, and I call it evil. That's what there is for me. Because there's no sitting on the fence where this shit's concerned. No sitting on the fence. It's vile. It goes against everything about humanity they are destroying. Even and do you know what makes me laugh? They put placentas in capsules, and everyone, it's good for you. They're just prettying up cannibalism. The Ferrero trials. They want us to eat shit capsules. They want, and it weren't a joke. That letter, it wasn't even sent to me. Listen, that was sent to my friend from St Thomas's Hospital. Does she want to take part? So it's not hearsay. I've actually did it. I couldn't believe it. I could not believe it. I put the letter up online, and it says, "Would you take part in trials because they're testing out the effects of of stools?" And then in brackets, poo. It's worrying me a bit because we're I know someone else who said that eat fetuses and eat excrement. And that's Alistair Crowley, and they just got to put pretty up, and we were all like, okay, but they called it Ferrero. And I'm not gonna lie, straight away for Ferrero Rocher. Drop me out. But anyways, thanks for listening, people. Oh my God, me. See, I keep forgetting the Apple Mac. I've got £100 towards my Apple Mac. Thank you so much. That I don't want to call out the lady's name because but I did actually get a donation of 100. The lady contacted me and said, I want to help you. Now, the only way I can do this, people, yeah, is you'll just have to message me and then I can tell, because the GoFundMe, they've gone for me social, so that is, and it is. I need to get. I'll take a second hand Apple Mac, yeah, because and I've looked on, and I can get a thingy one for 700. Um, I know to buy new, you're looking at 1,300, but what I do know, I know that I can do, I can do this. I can put shit together. I can, once I know how to do it. And Brian said he will set it all up. He will show me because he knows. Because it is very much of a handicap, my dyslexia. And I've had offers of help before, and it's all and you have to be careful who you let and who you let have access to your computer and no. So that I'm really trying to get the money together to get an Apple Mac. And it's so that I can just do this because I know then I can pull shit up when I'm talking, do what Brian does, be able to, you know, and yeah, like I said, this is me. So yeah, I've got £100 towards it. And you know what? I've, with all this, I'd forgotten about that, and and when I remember, it's like, no shit, I got it. You don't understand how much it means. It does mean a lot to know that people do believe in you. Um, so yeah, just private message me, even if you're not even on Facebook. If you're listening on YouTube, um, my Facebook page is set to public. All the recommended videos are on my page. And my page is a really interesting page to go to because every single documentary that is put up by me has been watched by me and decided it's good enough to go up because I know the documentaries it takes to wake people up. I've sifted I've sifted all through the shit. Memory Hold and Mouthy Buddha are, as far as I'm concerned, like if there's an Oscar for research, mate, all day long. Brian, but we all and you can't help have your favourites. I know Brian likes Mouthy Buddha Stolen, but me, Memory Old is and I think it obviously because it's I've kind of they've even they was I know that they were seeing my post yesterday. I know that they were seeing my searches yesterday because when I tell you now they are panicking because if this country wake up to Pizzagate and know when you know Pizzagate's the realest thing that you ever you know and for me now if you ain't watching the documentaries you haven't actually gone to watch the documentaries. Why are you here? You know, Brian watched the documentaries after all that time, and when you saw because the light comes on and it's uncomfortable and it's horrible, but it makes you this having knowing that it's going on means that we can do something about it because it's down to there ain't no one helping, there ain't no one coming in to save us. There ain't no person in Parliament that's going to be coming and swooping, and it's down to the people, and it's down to the people. And if do you know what now? If it don't happen now, it's got to a point as well where the only way they're going to shut me up or they're going to shut Brian up. There's only one way that it's going to happen. And if people don't wake up, I don't give a fuck about I don't because I don't want to live in a country that is so evil, so twisted. And I know now, and you know now. And somehow we've got to do this. And to be quite honest with you, it's not like you don't know where to look. The Houses of Parliament's always a good start. But when I do my next one, I want to talk about the Trolling Academy. And yes, people, it's a real thing. Absolute, complete, real thing. But yeah, that's for another day. But at fucking 2 hours, what is wrong with me? Anyway, people, I'm off. I'm gonna go asleep now. I'm crashing. I'm knackered. But yeah, like I said, any help towards the Apple Mac, happy days. Yeah. But other than that, it's been a pleasure. And I am sorry for being a bit short earlier on because, like I said, this stuff does get to you. But only for a while, and then you process it, and then you move on, and you're stronger than ever. So take care, peeps. But remember, if anyone can get down to the YouTube building, and at least like because they are just blatantly disregarding any rules or any lines or any part of our basic human right, freedom of speech. Like we're meant to be a democracy. And you know what? I'll give it to President Putin, mate. He said, at least I'll tell my people I spy on them. He's like, you people think that you're not being. We are. Pizzagate is being so suppressed over here. Oh, I know why. I see why. And if you watch these documentaries, like I said, Pedogate 1, 2, and 3, Pizza for Your Family Part 1, Pizza for Your Family Part 2, Memory Old, and Elite Human Trafficking, Terramar, Elite Human Trafficking 2, and Elite Human Trafficking 3. That's, watch them. If it don't wake you up, then, crack on, do what you're doing. But I'm telling you now, that's all you need. And once your eyes start opening, like bing. But we've got to stop these toddler baby raping, killing, disgusting pieces. And they're making art about it. And boy, if I was you, I'd lay off the McDonald's, mate. I don't know what people in prison and schools going to do, but I ain't even going to lie. McDonald's ain't the one. Ain't the one. But yeah, signing off now, people. Speak to you soon. Bye.